Greetings once again, intrepid adventurer. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more Eden Zero. Previously, with us traveling to Universe Zero to discover why this seems to be the only timeline where Mother survived. Our heroes are essentially reliving the entirety of the start of their adventure, although with some added twists, many for the positive. Happy is flesh and blood. The robots of Grand Bell weren't essentially dying. Witch is alive. Wise's mother is alive. Pino has her memories, with some crucial information that she refuses to share for the time being for some reason. And in order to find both Homura and Sister, our heroes have traveled back to the planet Gilth. But whereas in the previous timeline, Sister was being held hostage by an imposter and leader of the criminal band Rogue Out, we encounter Sister Ivory, who has taken up arms against Dakin Joe, who we find in this timeline Homura is indebted to. With the crew of Eden's biggest and baddest major villain, well, the first of which, and one of the Eurasian says Galactica, about to be encountered a bit earlier than before, are our heroes up to the task to get their friends back? Join me as I find out, won't you? Eden Zero, Chapter 225, Moscoy Heaven, and this is so weird. Also, Sister's a little bit shorter than I thought she was. That is about right. Like, what is she, like 5'7"? But Sister Ivory and Moscoy, or Moscow, I always get his name wrong. In what's essentially like a police lineup, only in their undies. Very sexy. How many crimes are they in for? A brutal duo that shakes the world. But we didn't see Moscow previously. I wonder what he's like in this version. Homura became Draken's debtor. How have her circumstances changed from the previous world? Honestly, with the changes now made, this could actually be a good chance to get Laguna, Chris, and Klein if Dakin has relocated his entire organization to Guild. You have Dakin and his crew talking to Homura, with Draken saying, I always want to call him Dakin Joe. It's Draken Joe. I guess my want not to call him Draken, I think of the Kim Possible villain. Draken Joe and his crew are talking to Homura, where Draken's saying, so, you'll do anything to pay us back. Sounds good. I like your moxie. But it's obvious Homura is a little distracted by something next to her. Draken says, don't pay attention to that guy. He's just some little punk who tried flying off without paying his dues. Yeah, I remember this scene with the guy with a friggin' bottle shoved in his mouth, hands bound, kneeling, stripped down to his skivvies. Draken says with a sinister smile, isn't that weird? Usually, aren't folks supposed to return what they borrow? Running off before giving it back makes you no different from a thief, doesn't it? I forgot how menacing Draken was. Friggin' loan shark. Diego says, what the hell are the cops up to? While Seth says, nothing since this planet ain't got any cop. And Maria just laughs a little. Draken then activates his ether gear, saying, that's why we're the ones who gotta lay the law. This causes the bottle in the man's mouth to become incredibly heavy. His head hits the ground intensely. Oof, Homer is horrified by this. Draken then says, so, Homer, about my money. You're gonna pay it back, right? This time? Right? Homer nods her head in desperation. Yes, absolutely. I will absolutely pay it back to you, Maria then says, licking her lollipop. You know, I pity you, a daughter having to pay off her own parents' debt, but seeing as we can't find your mother, we have no choice but to collect it from you, obviously. Okay. So, in this universe, I guess Madame Kurenai didn't become in control of her situation, but instead she just ran off. Wow, an asshole in this universe too, huh? It's interesting, Homer is the only one who ended up with a really bad outcome. Draken says with a sinister smile, you've got your mother's good looks. I hear if you head over to Ilia's place, he'll hire you for some good money. And knowing what we know about Iliga, that is a death sentence. We then pick up back at the Church of Rogue Out, where our heroes have confronted Sister. I wonder what it's gonna need to be to trigger Sister's memory. Ashiki saying, the sister from this world knows Draken. Rebecca says, we're not on Draken's side. Sister, obviously getting pissed, says, oh yeah? What proof have you got? Happy shrugs, saying, well, that's a doozy. Pino says, we should have brought Witch with us. Wise gets frustrated, saying, whatever, just remember already. Come on, your memories from the last world, that's it. You're feeling like you're wrapped in light? But Sister continues to get angry, saying, that BS of yours is pissing me off, you damn brats. Happy continues to get nervous, questioning, should we tell her everything from the top? That'll be a pain. While Sister says, I got the same feeling. If you're not customers, then get out. I don't got time to waste playing with kids. Shiki says, we'll leave once we have you, sister. Sister laughs, saying, whoa, was that a pickup line? Gross. Okay, we're done here. Alright, assholes, do it, she says as a door up above her opens up, and out pops Moscoy! Moscow coming in dramatic fashion. Naturally, of course, he's here, but Jin and the other dude aren't here, so he must be with Klein then. Shiki calls out to Moscow excitedly, with Rebecca smiling and saying, we knew you'd be here. But suddenly there's some thudding all around Wise, who just continues to look around going, huh? Huh? Oh, there's a legion of Moscows, all striking dramatic poses. Uh-oh. Naturally, Shiki and Rebecca freak out, with Shiki going, what? Rebecca says, there's so many. Happy and Pino are shocked too, with Happy saying, is Moscow mass-produced in this world? Pino says, eek. Moscow is making me nauseous, and the group of Moscows are saying, Mos, 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 Mos. But Sister, she's shocked, questioning, what? How do they know Moscow's name? But the entire place is filled up with Moscows, crushing both each other, Shiki, Wise, and Rebecca, with Rebecca calling out, they're crushing me. Wise calls out, do something, Shiki. Shiki says, but we're up against Moscow. Happy says, on the other hand, it's okay to blow him away because it's Moscow, right? With Pino saying, Happy, that is cruel. But suddenly the group of Moscows pick up Rebecca out of the crowd and just start crowd surfing her in one direction. Oh, landing her right at Sister's feet. It has a very sinister grin. What an angle. Sister gets excited, saying, you're one fine woman. And while Shiki calls out to Rebecca, suddenly Rebecca's arms and legs are bound. You know where this is going. When Rebecca's strapped down to the table, Sister feels up her legs, saying, so, how do you like to be my manservant? Naturally, Rebecca starts shrieking a little bit. Shiki calls out, hey, what do you think you're doing to your own friend? Sister sinisterly questions, friend? But then Shiki activates his ether gear, sending all of the Moscows flying. This shocks Sister, who questions, gravity? Wise lets out a sigh of relief as all of the Moscows go flying. Sister and Shiki's eyes lock. And of course, when Sister gets another look at Rebecca, she remembers all the times she'd bound and punished Rebecca. Sister then looks at Rebecca again, saying, the Ultra Sub. Rebecca freaks out, saying, what are you remembering? But then the nicer memories from Sister come flooding back as she says, Shiki, is that you? And everyone else is delighted because finally she remembers. This really does raise a lot of questions about Moscow, as now that everything's calmed down for the most part, and everyone's talking civilly, Wise questions, so what's with all the Moscows? Sister says, they're just bots. The real deal is off on his own. I think they meant to say he was. Bit of a translation error there. He was bugging me, so I sent him off. And the other Moscows say, Moscoy, Moscoy. Which then opens up a video call saying, it's a pleasure to see you, Sister. Sister smiles at Witch, saying, same here. If you die in this world, I'll kill you. Pino then says, I detect a contradiction in term. Sister then turns to Shiki, saying, anyways, you sure got real small, Shiki. She then begins to grope Rebecca, saying, you should take pointers from Rebecca's bouncers. Rebecca says, ugh, even this brings back memories. Happy then questions, come to think of it, is there no fake sister in this world? Sister says, yeah, that lady was never here. Huh, weird. Part of me questions how she's completely gone and how our sister is the leader of Rogue Out, but Shiki asks the $1,000,000 question. Does this mean there'll be times when people who should have been in this universe, Zero, don't exist? Rebecca says, I'm not sure. It's also possible she still exists, but because her history is different, she didn't get involved. Yeah. Dang. See, that's the interesting thing about this. It's just like, what are the circumstances here? I don't really care that much about the fake sister, but at the same time, she was leading something pretty major. So I have to wonder, it's just like, what happened that she's not involved with any of this? Why says folks like my mom are still alive though. Pino adds, Universe Zero certainly is a mysterious world, which then adds in the previous world, you were imprisoned by the fake sister for 10 years. Does this mean the past 10 years have been completely different for you in this world? Yeah, that's a good point. What has sister been up to this entire time? Sister says, yeah, I've been doing medical care on this planet for 10 years. The planet's got bad public safety. Before I knew it, a vigilante group was formed, and I took charge of it. Huh, so instead of a criminal group, they're a vigilante group. Oh, that's pretty cool. I guess that is one change for the positive. So meaning there was never a contract to kidnap any people for Iliga. Wise adds, so this world's rogue out is a vigilante group. Sister also adds, that's not all. We've been fighting Draken, which shocks Shiki. As Sister adds, he gave us a hard time in the last world, but Draken's just as bad in this one. He's the guy who made this planet into a lawless hellhole. Oh, she even said it! I've been saying it this entire time. Sister says, but if you guys are on your New Game Plus now, we can crush him real easy. Ah, man. Thank you. Thank you. You've justified me saying that. I've been saying for the longest time, it's just like, this is just like New Game Plus. But Rebecca says nervously, huh? I'd rather we don't get involved with him on purpose. Wise says, either way, Draken's got Jin and Klein working under him. Yeah. Happy adds Laguna too. Pino also adds, I conclude the time is right. Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta get involved with Draken one way or the other. But Shiki's not saying anything. And Wise questions, what's wrong, Shiki? And Shiki ponders something, saying, I wonder, is Draken really the same as he was in the last world? That's a good question. Sister says, you mean beating him won't be that simple? Happy says, we lost to him once in the world before the last one. Rebecca says, now that you mention it, you're right. And that's not something you easily forget with what happened. Sister then receives a transmission saying, hold on, I'm getting a transmission from Moscow. And, oh my god, Moscow and drag. I did not need to see that in my lifetime. We then cut over to Iliga Tower, where previously, in the previous universe, you had Rebecca and the other girls, the beekeepers, being held hostage to essentially be turned into furniture. You have Homura and Moscow in a lineup of girls, with Moscow transmitting to Sister the infiltration into Iliga Tower was a success. And the caption saying, next time, it's Iliga versus Moscow. Meanwhile, Shiki and the others head for the Beliagora for the third time. Right. So is Moscow gonna rescue Homura? Seeing Moscow and Dragon is still hilarious, but man, Homura really can't catch a break. Kurenai is still terrible in any universe, but does Homer really not have the benefit of having Valkyrie? That's unfortunate. I wonder, where is Valkyrie in this timeline then? Is she dead? Are we actually going to have Valkyrie teaming up with them at this time around? That would be wild. Maybe we'll get double Sword of Eden's action. But the question remains, in this universe, is Shiki going to be strong enough? Because we've seen that they have their abilities to a certain extent, but they don't have the same kind of control. So it's hard to know if facing off against Draken will be the same. Because it was a tough fought battle previously. So is it going to be a situation of Shiki's inexperienced body isn't able to keep up? Or is Shiki's knowledge going to help him push through things? And hopefully finding Klein, Laguna, and Chris will give them the edge ultimately. But is it going to be another situation like with Sister, where it takes a while for the memories to come back? And who knows how much damage will be done before their memories will come back? Because it's hard to tell what is going to trigger those memories. And we've had Shiki gazing at Rebecca and Happy and vice versa to trigger them. But with Wise and Pino, it was them looking at each other. But with Sister, it was her looking at Shiki as well as Rebecca. So what's it going to take to trigger Homura? What's going to take to trigger Moscow? And that's the tricky thing of this all. And the most interesting thing, like, how do they trigger the memories of their friend, and how much danger do they end up involved in before that trigger happens. But we've gotten sister, and that's okay by me, at least so far. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as we're continuing our New Game Plus of Eden Zero. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on the next time. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.